Okay, today I am going to take you through the process of creating a website from scratch.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you speaking.
It's fine, we can talk because it doesn't matter. Anyway, first we just quickly check our email. Amazing stuff. Anyway, so first thing is I obviously spoke to the client, got a bit of a spec, what we needed to do, and now I go into my favorite sites to look for inspiration. And I spend quite a lot of time here just to get a feel of obviously trends and things like that. And I often have a design idea in my head, so I look for those sort of elements. So at the moment I'm looking for simple sites. And yeah, so cssmania.com, because they have a huge array of featured sites, and Best Web Gallery because they have the best sites. Anyway, so I'm just going to have a look around and I'll get back to you in a few minutes. Ciao. Okay, I found what I'm looking for, inspiration-wise. So now I'm going to unleash a blank canvas on Macromedia's Fireworks. Usually I just start with your normal screen size. That's the numbers I put in, which is on most computers 1280 wide by 1024 pixels high. Make the canvas white. And this is the site. I know you can't really see from there, but the whole point of this is just to talk you through it. What I want to do from here is get their logo onto my screen. So I just take a screenshot because it's flash, so I can't copy it over. We're not the type to do wireframes. We feel that we are much more productive if we just jump straight into the design and clear our head, because you never get it right the first time. So what you see now will probably not even be close to what we end up with. The client is an accounting firm, and the main thing I pick up from here is the 3 columns with a big main column. We're not doing any of the coding for the site, we're just doing the design, which is good because Mark is up to his head in other designs. So anyway, let's get cracking with the logo. Just looking at that font, it could be Times New Roman or Georgia. We'll see now. Oh, it looks like Georgia. So anyway, we increase the size of it. It's still not big enough. Still not big enough. And it is not Georgia. Let's try Times New Roman. There you go. The only difference is that their letters are a bit sharper than mine. So I mean, for now we're not going to sort that out because I'm just going to get the logo from them in the future. But in order to start the design, we do need to use something. So I always start with the logo first, because the logo to me links up the whole corporate idea, the whole design, everything. Being an accounting firm, I can only imagine that it must be very slick and neat, it must be friendly and inviting, but at the same time very professional. To me, professional is the typical idea of a professional site is something like apple.com. Anyway, so luckily we've done an accounting site before. In fact, we grew up in an accounting website. So I'm just going to, based on my experience with accounting firms, I sort of understand the culture, sort of, but not entirely. So I'm just going to draw some inspiration from their site, as well as the sites that I've picked up on CSS Mania and Best Web Gallery. Anyway, so I'm just going to get cracking on that. And when you come back, I may have a design up and running already, or I'll just be starting it. For now, it's just the logo I'm going to look at and link it to the sites that I've gained inspiration from. Ciao. Basically now I've just got the 3 columns in there. I'm trying a slightly odd design style. I'm sure that will change, but it's good for something. You've got to start somewhere. So often the first design that I create is never the one that's actually used, but the point is that you need to start somewhere, and this is where I'm starting. it's probably going to end up shocking, but it's a good inspiration and usually it kickstarts the creative mind. So anyway, unfortunately, because it's a accounting firm, we've got to go with a couple of business photos, which is usually my pet hate, but for this it is sort of required. I just decided that this whole layout is just not going to work. So guess what? I've got to start again. This is attempt number 2. I'm going with something typical and hoping that as it develops it will turn into something unique. I'm using quite a few other sites as inspiration, and I just wanted to mention with regards to the old design, if there's one thing I learned while racing, it was that you have to be honest with yourself. If the engine was bad, then say the engine was bad. But if you're driving badly, you've got to be honest, because it only benefits you in the long term through the racing weekend. Now the same thing with designing stuff. If your design is not good, then instead of pursuing and ending up with a monstrosity, just be honest and be honest up front so you don't waste time, because as soon as you start wasting time, it's costing someone money. So just like I don't think this design is any good, I've decided to start again with a completely different concept. Instead of the menu going down the side and going across, all that type of thing. So anyway, let's see how this design turns out. Maybe it's the one we end up using. But for now, we're off to lunch. So after lunch, see you then. Hello everyone, and welcome to day 2 of following me creating a website. Basically today we're still just going to focus on design stuff, the homepage only. Tomorrow we're going to start attacking the subpage. Basically what you see in front of you is a sort of, I went with the second design that I showed you in the previous episode, and I'm just trying to refine it and work on it a little bit. I've stretched everything out so the color stretches across the screen. I just think it's more effective, more striking, and I've changed the business photo. Basically today I want to figure out what I must put in this blue area over here. I usually struggle with footers, so this may take quite a while. From there, I'll start mapping out in my mind the subpage and how it's going to look, but it won't be too far from what you can see from down there on your screens. So I'm just going to continue refining this. I've gone with the 3 columns as I mentioned from the original website. They've got a main column and then 3 columns below it. I'd call this site an enhancement, a pretty big enhancement of what they currently have. So I'll see you guys in about 45-50 minutes. Ciao. Basically what you are seeing here is the sort of finished product that I'm going to be sending our client for review. While you were gone, I've added some content in the blue area, which I mentioned I wanted to do previously, as well as I've also included the footer, which you can't really see on this phone because of the grey contrast. Anyway, the main thing that I focus on before I send off the designs is padding and alignment. I also check out if everything aligns to the grid as I wanted it to, using 960GS. If it's a case of the 10 pixel method, then I literally go to each item and I move it back and forth 10 pixels to see exactly how it's aligning. For those of you who don't know what the 10 pixel method is, you can go to wearenotfreelancers.co.za. I've posted it there. It should be in the most viewed column on the right hand side. So from here I'm going to send it to the client. I've still got to do 3 more designs for him before we decide on which. Once we decide on which design to go with, I'll create the subpage. But for now, I think this isn't too bad. So hopefully he likes it. And yeah, see you then. Ciao.